Welcome back. In this lesson we're going to talk about the clone stamp tool and the pattern stamp tool. Beginning with the clone stamp. The clone stamp works a lot like the healing brush. The major difference is that it doesn't have any of the automated features that the healing brush has. It won't look around the area and sample patterns or pixels from anything. The way the clone stamp tool works is you sample an area and then you paint that sampled area over another space. Now let's take a look at what that looks like. We have an image here with a guy in the middle of it. Maybe we don't want that guy here, so we want to take him out of the image. It's easy to do with the clone stamp tool. Now let's zoom in so we can see this a little better. And the first part of using the clone stamp tool is to sample the area you want to clone. To do that, you hold down the Alt key. When you hold down the Alt key, you'll notice that you get the crosshairs where your mouse is. I'm going to sample this area right here by left-clicking while I'm holding the Alt key. I'm also going to change my brush size because this is a rather big brush. We'll bring it down just a little bit, maybe a little bit more to that. That's good. The clone stamp really works best with a soft-edged brush. It kind of helps you blend the pixels around the edges. Now you'll notice when I'm moving the mouse around, you can see behind it that there is an image of what is going to be painted. You can see that it's the top of the trees with the white snow above it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by lining it up right about here. Click with the left mouse button and start painting. Now as you can see, I've got aligned checked up here. What aligned does is it's going to keep the brush relative to the space that I sampled. No matter where I start, it's going to keep that same relative distance. Now that can create a problem when you start painting too far over. If I come over here, you'll notice it starts painting the edge of the tree. We don't want that. Or, going in the opposite direction, it starts painting another copy of the guy. And we don't want that either. What we can do now is resample. So we'll sample from over here now and paint in small sections to really achieve the effect that we're trying to get. Sample up here, start painting down. Resample, start painting down. Now if I go down too far without unclicking, you'll see it starts painting the body here again, and that's because since I haven't released, it's painting what was originally there. Even though I've just painted over this, it's still seeing that there is this body here. So that's a big part of resampling. Do that and resample again. Now let's look at what options we have up here. We have the standard brush options, which we've seen several times before. The brush sizes and hardness and all that. Same thing you get when you right click out here. The brush presets. We have different modes that you can select to do your cloning. We have opacity, and then tablet pressure for opacity and size. We have flow, airbrush. And I'm kind of going over these a little bit quickly because we've talked about these already before. The aligned option and then the sample from current layer, the current layer and the layer below, or sample from all layers. The aligned option is the only one I'm going to take another look at here just to see again how it works. Now with align checked, we've seen that it will always paint relative to that first spot that we sampled. Whichever spot we sample. Sample there, no matter where I go, it's going to be relative. If I uncheck aligned, it's always going to sample back from the original spot. So now I've got that. If I let go and start again, the crosshairs go back to the original spot I sampled. and that's what aligned does. So let's zoom in a little more and finish taking this guy out of the image. Let's make another sample, carry it farther down, and now we're getting close to the bushes, so now we'll sample the tops of these bushes. And you can see we've effectively removed the guy. Now hopefully you can see the power that you've got here and the control that you have over using something like the healing brush or spot healing brush, where it automatically tries to determine what you want to put in here. It's a little bit more time intensive and more of a manual process, but you can achieve more precise results. And now just to take another look at it, we'll go ahead and clone this tree right here. Make a copy of it right over here. And now we have another tree. Simple as that. Usually you keep the brush size relatively small so that you can get these precise results. Sometimes you do want to use a bigger brush if you're going to clone a big area. So maybe we want to clone this whole slope here. And we got part of the tree there, so we'll try that again and stop right there. And there we go. Alright, and I think that's pretty much it for the clone stamp tool. Let's take a quick look at the pattern stamp. The pattern stamp has most of the same options that we had with the clone stamp, most of the same options that we see with a lot of brushes. What the pattern stamp does is it allows you to choose a pattern and paint that pattern. Let's choose egghead and we'll start painting. And as we can see, an egghead pattern is being painted into the image. That's pretty much all there is to this, other than the one option up here called Impressionist. The Impressionist option just really gives your pattern an artistic look. It adds some jitter and blur and things like that. And now you can see while I'm painting my pattern, it's got a very Impressionist look. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you can see what's going on here. This one's taking this diagonal stripe pattern and just kind of blurring it out and jittering it around. It did the same with the egghead pattern. It's not a highly used option, but now you've seen it, and if you find a use for it, then by all means use it. I think that pretty much wraps up the clone stamp and the pattern stamp. Hopefully you found this lesson informative and fun, and hopefully you see the power in the clone stamp tool and what you can do with that when you take some time and really use it to its full power. As usual, feel free to comment, let me know what your thoughts are on this lesson, link samples of your work, give me some feedback. I'd love to hear it. See you in the next one.